You are watching the SOMMVIVANT YouTube channel. Hello again, wine-loving friends. I'm Amanda, and we are back with another episode of your weekly wine picks. Just like before, I'm selecting wines that you can go and find online on wine.com, click, purchase, and have shipped to your door. So a couple people have asked me why I'm using wine.com instead of another online retailer. And the truth is, I've vetted most of the other online retailers that I can think of, and I've tried out their services, and I've just found wine.com has just been the superior model for a number of different reasons, including having wines available state to state, the quality of wines that they're offering, the customer service, which I think is huge, and then of course the shipping model, which is just sort of the icing on the cake for wine.com because it's $49 for the entire year for unlimited shipping. And for me, and I think for most of you out there, shipping wine is a huge pain point. It is incredibly expensive. There's nothing worse than finding a great $15 to $20 bottle of wine, getting to checkout, and then realizing that shipping is almost as expensive as the actual bottle, if not more. And that's happened quite a few times. So I know that we talked about some really great value sparkling outside of champagne a few weeks ago. You may remember it as the episode I wore champagne pajamas in. I'm sorry to say I will not be wearing the champagne pajamas today. I know you're all disappointed, but I did select champagne this week. I feel like I should preface this by saying I love champagne. I could drink champagne every day, and I especially love rosé champagne. So that's what I picked for you today. A few champagnes that fly just under the radar that aren't necessarily your usual suspects. There's so many champagnes out there. There's a huge, big world of them. And I wanted to introduce you guys to a few that maybe you've never heard of. And again, these are available on wine.com. Both are under $50. I should add that certain regions are more value-driven than others. Champagne, not so much. Really have to spend a little bit of money in champagne. When I say spend money, I mean starting at around $40 to get at least a good quality champagne. Anything below that, you're really taking a risk with. Unfortunately, it's just not a region that's suited for value. And if you want value sparkling, you should check out my other video that I did on some of the great value sparklings under $20, and I'll link that above for you guys. So the first one we're gonna be talking about today is actually a grower champagne. It's kind of been a growing, no pun intended, trend in the wine world to drink grower champagnes as opposed to like big house champagnes. And all that means is that the people that are making the champagne actually grow the grapes to make it with. It's really that simple. Doesn't necessarily make it better, but it can, and it has often been associated with great quality. So let's get started. First up, Gaston Chiquet Rosé. So like I said, Gaston Chiquet is a grower champagne, so it's an older house that's grown their grapes for many, many years. So the king of champagne, the guy that finds the great champagnes, especially the great grower champagnes, and puts together a big portfolio of the things he loves, his name is Terry Thiese. And if Terry Thiese says the champagne is good, I typically believe him. So this is a Terry Thiese selection, and just like Kermit Lynch, which we talked about before, Terry Thiese is a great trust agent for me. When I'm looking for new wines and I see Terry Thiese on the label, I typically go with that and I trust it. If you want to learn how to open champagne properly without popping yourself in the face, watch. I put it in the freezer for a little while. You definitely want this to be very, very cold. That is the key to opening champagne without it exploding everywhere. So we're gonna open this. You see this little ring right here. You're gonna push it down. You're gonna keep your hand firmly on top of the bottle. We're gonna twist this ring 6 times to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're gonna push, push, keeping your hand firmly on top. Grab the bottom of the bottle, and you're just gonna gently tilt it, grab it from the bottom, keeping your hand on top, and twisting from the bottom. Now you're gonna feel it start to move a little bit up here. Keep your hand on here. Yes. That's it. That's how you open it. Simple as that. I'm sure you're probably wondering why I'm using a white wine glass. Champagne, just like regular wine, has great aromatics and a beautiful palate, and sometimes it's really hard to do that in a champagne food. So I put it in a white wine glass, and that way I can get all of the aromatics out of it and taste it just like I would a regular wine. This is a Pinot Meunier dominant champagne. And so right off the nose, it's giving me a lot of florality, but a lot of mushroom qualities. This is a really earthy rosé champagne, so don't let the color fool you. If you like more of those earth-driven characteristics in a champagne versus a lot of strawberry and a little bit more ripe fruit, this is a great champagne for you. This is really, really food friendly, but also really kind of nice on its own. It's not terribly intense as far as acid goes. It's a little bit more playful. It doesn't feel like it requires food, which a lot of times champagne does. So why I love Gaston Chiquet, like I said, it's a Terry Thiese selection. It's a grower champagne, something a little bit more under the radar, although they do make about 10,000 cases, so it's not a small production, but it's small enough that it's not a huge, big production house. So this is a great champagne with a very good reputation that you could easily take to a dinner party and not feel embarrassed about. So just like we talked about in some of the other videos about red wines and white wines you could take, I would definitely put Gaston Chiquet in that same category. One of my favorite little hacks, if I am out to dinner and I really only have the money to spend on one bottle of wine, I will typically choose a champagne. If I'm gonna be having something with a little bit more weight for dinner as my entree, I'll go rosé champagne. A rosé champagne really has the ability to stand up to heavier dishes as well as being great with lighter dishes to start. Okay, next one. Okay, so I'm really excited about this next champagne. I fell in love with this champagne when I was still living in New York working as a sommelier, and we used to pour this by the glass, and it was one of my favorites. So this is Champagne Lallier, and this is all 100% Grand Cru fruit. Heyo! Looks pretty good. Oh yeah. Have I mentioned I love champagne? I love champagne. This is a much more complex nose. It's a lot more aromatic. This is like straight up Parmesan cheese rind. Oh, that was so good. A lot more weight and texture than the Gaston Chiquet. If you're thinking about which champagne should I pick, I think if you are going to be having dinner and you want a wine that's going to take you start to finish all the way through, the Lallier, this one right here, is probably your better bet. So I really love sharing these with you guys because I think there's so many great champagnes out there. And even though the big houses are great, there's so many little producers out there that I really love that I think you guys would love too. Instead of going to the normal, the big, the obvious, I love getting things that have a little bit more of a story behind them. All right guys, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you like what I'm doing, please do subscribe. I will see you next week. Until then, bottoms up, have some bubbles for your troubles, and enjoy your week. Cheers.